SportsTalk.com.
It is the show that shakes the Southland, Clemson Sports Talk. Lawton Swan with you on a Tuesday afternoon. And again, a talking Tuesday, if you will. Dabo Swanny earlier today meeting with members of the media to chat it up about everything as Clemson heads into this monumental season opener. Just a huge matchup with the Georgia Bulldogs. I don't think, as we look at it, I don't think we've really seen anything like this in a while. I kind of went through the nuances of it all a few weeks back, just about running into a team in a game of this magnitude this early in the season is substantial. And so, Clemson's got obviously national championship and college football playoff hopes in their line of sight, but the reality is that those things can quickly fade. If you don't go out and play good football this weekend, and not fade completely from existence, but sort of like Marty McFly's family, they just get the glimmer of opportunity to get there begins to fade. And so, again, always great to get a chance to talk with Mike Yuva, but even more importantly, in my opinion, great for us to be able to hear from Dabo Swanny as well. And we'll get that up for you here momentarily. So, I just think that Mike's all over it when he talks about, not just from South Carolina's perspective, but from Clemson's perspective as well. And really even from Georgia's perspective, the ground game and who controls the line of scrimmage is so important in this matchup. And we'll hear from Dabo Swanny here on the program. So momentarily, I'll get that audio up and rocking and rolling for you. 803-450-0086. You might be looking at the title of the show thinking, man, the new era, what do you mean? By the way, I have people to penalize here. SCU says, stop looking at me, Swan. Appreciate it. Nick shared the show. Nick, that's a 2-minute penalty, buddy. But I just think from the standpoint of, this Clemson Tiger football team, they can find themselves, and we kind of went through it on Friday, in a situation that you all haven't had to deal with the Clemson Tiger football team being in a long time, under 500. Clemson Tiger football team that's really not on the inside track to the college football playoff. I mean, Clemson's legitimately been on the inside track to the college football playoff every season since the end of 2015. And it's not hyperbole. Like the 2015 season, you weren't on the inside track because you were sort of I don't want to call you a relative unknown, but you weren't yet at that level. But then the following year, after losing to Alabama in the championship game, the following year, I mean, you're right there. And it's not maybe necessarily expected, but there is the belief that you could achieve that level of success. And so for me, where this season feels a little bit different, you do have a changing of the guard at quarterback. You have a significant changing of the guard at running back. And you open with just a top flight team. Does it mean that when it's all said and done, Clemson can't win this ball game? Absolutely not. I think Clemson could blister Georgia, to be honest with you. But I think Georgia's more than capable of beating Clemson by 10, 14 points if they play their best game and Clemson's having a poor performance. I mean, this is not a game for the faint of heart. Many people believe it's going to come down to the final few minutes. That may very well be the case. But to me, the reality of what we're looking at is so different because we just haven't had Clemson necessarily in a situation similar to this in recent memory. And that's where it is a good bit different, because in recent years, when you've lost, you've been in the college football playoff. You've not had to really battle back. Now, maybe you go back to the loss against Pittsburgh, but that weekend, if you remember, was just a wild weekend where all of a sudden across the country, there was like this unraveling in front of Clemson that really helped them out. But for the most part, where this feels so different to me is simply the fact that you're playing a top flight team. That's you're accustomed to. But if you come out on the back end of this, you really have a ton of work to do to put yourself not necessarily, quote, back in the conversation. I think you'll probably still exist in the conversation, but to just have that surefire feeling that you're going to be there. 803-450-0086. Linda says, finally, some Clemson orange. Yeah, I fired up the old Clemson Sports Talk t-shirt today. Kyle's also in the house. He wants to know how everybody's weekend was. Appreciate you, Kyle. He's the honey king of the upstate, I like to call him. Great weekend. A little worn out. Going to continue to be worn out as college football gets rocking and rolling. Got all the credentials and everything. And my guy, David Grooms, will be taking photos for us in Charlotte for this matchup. And this is a similar but yet very unique feeling. Like if you worked one job and let's say you were an accountant and you went from business A to business B. I mean, it's the same job, so you know it, but it's a different atmosphere. And that's what this game is. It's a very similar scenario to what we've seen in the past, but the outcome can put you in a pretty different spot. Not saying your back's against the wall, but Clemson fans, you become accustomed to being in the college football playoff conversation. You've been accustomed to this. And yeah, we're always just a loss or two away as fans of this sport from being out. But, buddy, starting off your season 0-1, that's a big change of perspective. We'll hear from Dabo Swanny coming up here on the program right after this. Stay with us for more of the show that shakes the Southland.
Are you thinking about refinancing your home, but worried that closing costs could cancel out any money you would save? It could happen. In fact, average closing costs for a $300,000 home in South Carolina are over $2,000. Yikes! How's that going to save you money? Cap your costs with a zero closing cost mortgage from Cap Center, your local mortgage lender.
This is our 6th time using Cap Center. And once again, the quality of service and speed of processing was excellent, and the savings are substantial.
This was my 3rd refinance with Cap Center. I've been very satisfied. The entire process is simple, never any surprises, and zero closing costs means zero closing costs.
Cap your closing costs. Visit capcenter.com. Equal housing lender. Visit capcenter.com for rates, savings, and offer limitations. This ad contains real client feedback voiced by actors. NMLS ID 67717. NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Let me tell you who I trust to protect my home and my family. Modern Exterminating. Hey, it's Lawton Swan, and when you need top quality service from a team that knows what bugs you, call Modern Exterminating. 765-2315. They're locally owned and offer a full complement of pest elimination services, including complete pest control, termite plans, moisture control, and more. Check out Modern Exterminating online at pestfreesc.com or give them a call today. 765-2315. Modern Exterminating. They know what bugs you.
Now the forecast from the Red Shirt Guys Roofing. TheRedShirtGuys.com.
Tonight, look for on and off showers. The temperature is dipping to the low 70s. Tomorrow, more rain. The afternoon highs coming in the mid 80s. For Channel 25, ABC Columbia, I'm Chief Meteorologist John Farley.
This report is sponsored by JustPlainKillers.com. Heartfelt sympathy to those South Carolinians who have lost loved ones to an overdose. Communities are urged to be aware of preventive measures like Narcan. Narcan is a life-saving medication available over the counter at local pharmacies. Go to JustPlainKillers.com to find a pharmacy near you.
When I grow up, I want to be a new pair of blue jeans.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's first computer.
When I grow up, I want to be a glass countertop in a new home.
When I grow up, I want to be a kid's best birthday present.
When I grow up, I want to be a football stadium.
When I grow up, I want to be a warm fleece on a cold day.
When I grow up, I want to be a fancy backsplash.
I want to be a bike that races around the country.
When I grow up,
I want to be